and the song I Came In From the Mountain.
My dreams would change over centuries if I had 1,000 lives to choose from. But we don't change what we don't see, because we affect each other endlessly. And I see between your eyes lines of language to be taken alone. I came in from the mountain. My fears would change over centuries if I could choose 1,000 lives to live from. But we can't change what we can't see, because we affect each other endlessly. And I see between your eyes lines of language to be taken alone. I came in from the mountain. And I see between your eyes lines of language to be taken alone. I came in from the mountain. Oh, I came in from the mountain.
I Came In From the Mountain, the first sample track from the new solo album by Roddy Woomble, who joins me in the company of his producer and backing musician on this project, John McCusker. Welcome both.
Hi, Archie.
Hi there.
Roddy, it would seem that you're setting out in a new creative direction compared to the work you did previously with Idlewild. Does this mean you're looking for a new audience as well?
Well, not really, not strictly. It's not like I sort of sat down at a table and thought, where am I going to go next? It's just, I think with Idlewild, I was trying to put the kind of influences that I had from, musical influences that I had into the band, and I realised that, a band is a collection of people working together, and I don't think the rest of the guys in the band necessarily wanted to, play, write songs on acoustic guitars or involve, violins or different instrumentation. So, no, I started writing songs with various people, with various different friends and things like that, and the band took some time off, so it seemed like a perfect time to try and do something, and I'd been friends with John for a wee while, and I just kind of got in touch with him and asked if he'd be interested in doing something. And
how did you manage to be friends with John for a while?
Well,
He's a really funny guy.
I ended
Very
up.
personal.
How far back do you actually go, John, you two?
Well, I've been a fan. Myself and Kate Rusby would hardly ever go on tour without having a Teenage Fan Club or an Idlewild CD in the car. So we're proper fans for years. And then I think we met briefly in Glasgow, but then we were both doing the Tsunami charity concert I was playing with Eddie Reader, and Idlewild were on, so we hung out at a party, and I plucked up the courage to ask Roddy to come and sing on a Kate record, and he said he would, and then kind of been pals since there.
It seems that there are more young writers moving from what could have been described as the rock pop thing towards the folk nowadays, Roddy.
Yeah.
Is that, well, you were in that kind of loop. You were interested in folk music before you became a singer with Idlewild, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the kind of music I was brought up with. So, and then when I was a teenager, I kind of, denounced it and discovered punk rock and things like that. But then I realised that I quickly tired of that, and I got back listening to the records that meant something to me, I suppose.
I'm fascinated about songwriting collaborations, because I write a few songs now and again, but I could never write them with anybody else. How does that work?
Well, I don't play an instrument, so I mean, I can't really write a song unless someone else is there. And I've been so used to writing songs with Rod from Idlewild. So he does 5 of the songs on the record are written with him. But then to write songs with John or my friend Michael Angus or the folk singer Corinne Poe, I found it actually quite. I just thought it was a really interesting thing to do. I mean, just to sit down with someone else and they're full of ideas and they play guitar in a different way and they choose different melodies than I would necessarily choose. And so, I mean, I didn't look upon it as, I looked upon it primarily as fun to begin with, because I didn't think it was going to turn into a record, really. I didn't really know what was going to happen with it. I thought we were just going to...
Sometimes the writer of the words knows only in his head what he wants to say. So how do you communicate that? Or is that something you just leave for interpretation to the person who's writing the music?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with me, the way I've always worked is that I've had the lyrics are kind of like, I sort of draft them almost like I'm writing an essay over the top of chords. You know,
You write quite a lot of stuff down, though, don't you, as well,
Yeah.
like phrases that Roddy likes. When I went over to Roddy's flat to write a couple of songs with him, it was an amazing experience because he had loads of stuff that he, phrases that he liked or just lyrics that he really likes. And I'd never really written songs before. When I said no, really, I've never written songs before. And I never go about it. It's a completely different process for me. It's like writing a tune. It's not easy, but it's something that I can do a little bit. But writing lyrics is so
A tune
different,
is almost
you know?
linear, but a song is three-dimensional, and the words are three-dimensional, because we've got much more ambiguity than a tune.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it was a great experience watching that, and how quickly it came together, because I had a couple of little tunes, and then how quickly Roddy formed choruses or verses was great.
Roddy, the title track of the album, My Secret Is My Silence, who did you work with on this?
This was the one that was written with John, actually, yeah.
It's a brilliant tune. I'm joking.
And a bit of a backdrop to, it's quite a mysterious title, but it's a nice title. What were you trying to say?
Well, I mean, I think with the band, I've always, I suppose, tried to write songs that kind of describe myself, I suppose, or just descriptions or loose descriptions or whatever. But with this record, I was quite interested in kind of trying to write songs about different people, which doesn't sound like a sort of revolutionary concept, but for me it was slightly. So, and I really like the writer George Mackey Brown. So I kind of, and I spend a lot of time up in the Highlands, so I kind of suppose that this song, My Secret Is My Silence, is kind of glimpses of the various people that I've met when I've been up there.
Well, and John McCusker are still with me, and this is another track from Roddy's new solo album, My Secret Is My Silence, and this one was co-written with his Idlewild guitar companion Rod Jones, As Still As I Watch Your Grave.
I know the old patterns because I live by the sea, and what I translate in water, it won't come back to haunt me. So cut another pattern to make a suitable friend of me, and in your illumination is your apology. What we keep of last night while we sleep. It's what we keep of last night while we sleep. And I watch your grave be written all over your face on the longest day, when midnight tries to take my place. As still as I watch your face be written all over your grave. We should have passed like hours, passed like years, but felt like days. And you live in the shadows of the evenings you mislead, but they're too real to be forgotten if you choose the right company. And I run each finger through the dust and only through your hair in sleep. But it's like the first breath in the morning, and it brings the past back to me. What we keep of last night when we sleep. It depends what we keep of last night while we sleep. And I watch
And still, as I watch your grave written and sung by Roddy Woomble, Roddy and John McCusker are with me, and John, of course, produced and played on this first solo release by Roddy. Roddy, you described making this album a bit like forming a new band, and you're going to follow that through by taking a selection of musicians on the road with the material from the album.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we came to write the album, it was written, as I said, with John and with my friend Michael and with Rod from Idlewild and Crean, and we didn't really know how we were going to record it. I mean, I sort of assembled a group of friends, and a lot of John's friends from the sort of folk world came and played on it. So when we actually wanted to play it live, which was never really the intention when we did it, we didn't think about really touring it. It was just to see if everyone who was available and how we could do it. So we've put a wee band together for it's only 8 concerts or something, so it'll be quite interesting, because it's kind of a bit like two worlds meeting.
We should strike while the iron is hot. I'll tell you what these dates are going to be at home, and this is for, you've called it, in fact, the Secret of Silence Band.
Well, it was just
to promote the album. Tuesday, July 25th, Aberdeen Lemon Tree. Wednesday, July 26th, Edinburgh Queen's Hall. That's a nice venue for you. Thursday, July 27th, you're down in Leeds in the Wardrobe Theatre. Then you're down to London on the 28th, the Bloomsbury Theatre, if you're down that way. And then you're in Bristol, Manchester. And then you return to Glasgow on August the 2nd. That's the Oranmore, top of Ash Road. And then you go really up to the north, Thursday, August the 3rd, Findhorn Universal Hall. You often find, if you've laid down an album, that you don't have to do much rehearsing, but are you going to be augmenting the programme with other material that you've used before, or from the band Idlewild?
Well, yeah, I mean, because there's only 11 songs on the record, so we're going to play all those 11 songs, obviously, and then we're going to play a few covers, and I think that we're going to do sort of rearrange a few Idlewild songs acoustic with John and with Andy Cutting, who's playing accordion on the tour. So it'll make it kind of an evening of entertainment, hopefully.
And then you're going to let the boy play the fiddle a bit by himself.
Oh yeah, and his sittern and his jokes and whatever else.
No many jokes, I don't think. No, it was a brilliant experience recording record. When Roddy first said about doing a folk record, I think the first thing I thought about was getting a group of people that I would normally use in the studio, like maybe James McIntosh playing drums or Ewan Vernal, who are, both amazing. But then Roddy had the idea of using Dave and Ailey from Sons and Daughters, who are a brilliant band, a Glasgow band. And I think that's what made it really interesting for me, because it was a real meeting. It wasn't folk musicians trying to be rock musicians or trying doing folk rock. It was people coming fresh to folk music and also us coming quite, So it made it a very different record, and I think that's what made it really exciting for me, was a real meeting of two different worlds.
You'll know that producers can sometimes develop what's called a house style, and because they use the same musicians all the time.
Yeah.
But you were given a different source material, if you like, to work with Roddy. How challenging was that? Because I think you've worked mainly with the tradition rather than with contemporary singer-songwriters, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I've kind of do the odd thing, maybe doing strings on like a Teenage Fan Club record or different things, so I'm part of that world sometimes. But like I said, this was really exciting because it was challenging, because it was people who don't normally play. Like, we did a jig on the record backed by half of Sons and Daughters and half of Idlewild, which I never thought the day would come. But it made it so exciting and, a real challenge. And also, what I really enjoyed was that we recorded the whole album in 9 days, which is really kind of quick for me, sometimes because myself and Kate have got our own studio, we take our time over it. But it did make it very exciting, we would just work the song up and try and get good energy. And
you hit the momentum.
Yeah, it was really, and we had a brilliant time recording it. And I think that's what will be exciting about the live shows, is a real, it's like me and Andy Cutting playing with Idlewild and Sons and Daughters, which is dead exciting for us.
The official launch is going to be in Glasgow on the 24th of July at Mono. And then you've got the whole, as I say, they've got the tours. But the next song, you'd mentioned co-writing, and I asked you about it. You were working with Corinne Polwart on this next song. The input, was she the musician, the instrumentalist on it that wrote the tune, or was it?
Well, I went round to Corinne's house in the Borders, and I'm a big fan of Corinne's songs, and I was really interested to see the way she wrote songs, and she takes it very, very seriously. I mean, I do too, obviously, but it's a real craft that she's, kind of a bit of a master at, actually. And to watch her, I mean, she had her notepad with all sort of taking notes about my lyrics and things like that, which was really interesting for me. We actually, her background's in philosophy as well. I mean, she really knows a lot about that kind of thing, and that's why I'd never done that. I mean, the kind of the mistakes sometimes in the way I've approached songwriting have been as important as I don't really know what I'm trying to say here, but
I do.
But when she was very very thought out about the whole process of writing a song together, and I don't think I've ever written or been involved in writing a song that sounds like this, because I suppose it's a contemporary folk song. This is probably on the whole record is the one that's more from that world, really, and that was mainly to do with Corinne. She wrote the tune on the guitar, and I kind of sang sort of words, and we worked on some words together.
At the end of the alphabet, when letters run out and you're left with your name, and you turn a new page just to choose a new age, till you find one more day that's the same. The phrases that shape me, the moments escape me, when you called me the name I became. In the space between what we say and what we mean, until we find one more day that's the same. And time will stop and start again. You're leading my heart again back to a place where I chose my own name. Watch time stop and start again. You're leading my heart again. If I could name any name, you know where you are at the end of the argument, surrounded by echoes that take on the strain, like the words that fall down, like the rain on the ground, until we find one more day that's the same. And time will stop and start again. You're leading my heart again back to a place where I choose my own name. Watch time stop and start again. You're leading my heart again. If I could name any name,
it's these moments that made me, and rumors that saved me. They taught me the things that I finally became. Through the mirror between what we know and we mean, till we find one more day that's the same. And time will stop and start again. You're leading my heart again back to the place where I chose my own name. Watch time stop and start again. You're leading my heart again. If I could name any name, you know where you if are. I could name any name, you know where you if are. I could name any name.
If I could name any name, and the one that comes to mind immediately is Corinne Powart, who co-wrote that song with my studio guest, Idlewild lead singer Roddy Woomble. Great compatibility of voices there, Roddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Corinne's one of the best singers I've ever heard, certainly a harmony singer. She just can put brilliant harmonies to anything you come up with.
Now, the new album is going to be called My Secret Is My Silence. It's released on Pure Records as 021. We've heard the personal choice of John McCusker, which was slightly off the wall, but very interesting.
Thank you.
Now it's your turn, and you're slightly retro, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a band. I'm really interested in a lot of sort of English folk rock from the 70s, and this is a band called The Trees. They put 2 records out, I think. I don't know too much about them. I think they were contemporaries of Fairport Convention, but they kind of just faded away, whereas Fairport obviously are still going. But all I know about them is their singer does voiceovers. That's the only tidbit of info I have on The Trees.
You've chosen a track that's got some kind of traditional resonance.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, again, I don't know enough about them or their history, but I think they basically referenced a lot of traditional tunes, but it's kind of sort of folk rock, 70s style.
Oh, come, all you wild young men, and a warning take by me, never to lead your single life astray and into no bad company, as I myself have done. It being in the merry month of May, when I was pressed by a sea captain, and on board a man of war I was sent. We sailed on the ocean so wide, and our bonny, bonny flag we let fly. But every man stands true to his gun, for the Lord knows who must die. Let every man stand true to his gun, for the Lord knows who must die. Our captain was wounded for sore, and likewise were the rest of his crew. Our master again, it was scattered on the deck, so that we were obliged to give in. Our decks, they were spattered with blood, and so loudly the cannon did roar. And here all the while have I wished myself at home and all alone, with my Polly on the shore. She's a tall and a slender girl. She's a dark and a roving eye, and here am I a-bleeding on the deck, when for her sweet sake I would die. Here am I, lie bleeding on the deck, when for her sweet sake I would die. So farewell to my parents and my friends, and farewell to my dear Polly too. I never would have crossed the salt seas so wide if I had been ruled by you. Never would have crossed the salt seas so wide
folk rock band called The Trees. They seem to have disappeared into obscurity. Maybe you can't see the wood for them. And that's from their On the Shore album. That was quite, as you say, retro.
I was just thinking that'll be the last time we get asked to pick a record for Fallon. Okay. Come in, boys, but leave your records at home.
So quintessentially Steel Eye Span, Pentangle, and maybe even a bit of the Sandy Denny era with Fairport Convention. It was as if there was a definite style that they
Oh
were
yeah,
playing
it's
at
just
the time.
it does have a real sound. If you listen to a lot of those records, they all fall,
So
quite
drumming and
closely
like
together.
you were saying during it is like the electric guitar playing the fiddle bits, and it is a real sound of that time.
That generation. Much, well, before your time, of course.
Yes.
Okay, good luck with the record with you, and good luck especially on the road when you go touring.
Thank you. Thanks very
John
much.
McCusker and Roddy Woomble, thank you.
Cheers, Archie.
You're listening to Travelling Folk on Radio Scotland, 92 to 95 FM, 810 medium wave, on digital and online. Another live session now with Chris Stout and Katrina Mackay.